Life in critical condition. Here's what police tell us. Philadelphia police say that he was stabbed this morning after he had been 911 emergency call. He's answering that call, North Philadelphia, 22nd near Diamond Street. And this medic rushed to the hospital by police after being stabbed in the chest multiple times, in the hand. Police say they have now arrested the suspect. That's the latest here. Arrested the suspect at 23rd and Norris Streets. So they have that suspect in custody. But here's yet another story of, this is a first responder fighting for his life. And I believe in Delaware County, there was a police officer who was injured in a car accident this morning as well. I'm trying to get the update on that one. Always just want to mix in the national news, local news, the campaign trail. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. If you watched any of the coverage last night, if you watched it live, as far as Bret Baier on Fox interviewing Vice President Kamala Harris, I'd love to hear your take if you watched it, or if you just saw clips on social media. That's important too. It's an important difference how you consume the media, right? And then during my show, we took, as you know, if you were here yesterday, we took parts of the Harris-Faulkner interview and town hall with former President Trump. They were in Georgia. Obviously, the vice president was here and in Bucks County with a lot of Republicans. Clearly, she's trying to woo women especially, but also Republicans who may be never Trumpers, those Nikki Haley loyalists who say, I really don't like Trump. I don't like his tweets. I liked Nikki better, or I liked a woman better, or maybe it's I'm a conservative, but I like Nikki Haley's approach to the abortion issue, any combo of those, and whether or not you think that she broke through or not. But I want to begin, if we can, with the story of Trump on Univision, and he's going for these Hispanic voters across the nation, representing, 15% of the vote in this country. And so this is a huge vote. It's a huge issue. And we know that if you are in this country legally, whether you are a legal asylum seeker, maybe you're here on a green card and you're going through or some kind of a work card documented situation where, you're on your path to citizenship, you've stood in line, as they say. And so the people who are most upset, or one of the groups most upset by this issue of millions of people just like a floodgate allowed to come in, are in fact the newest citizens or the newest asylum seekers, finding a legal pathway. And by the way, just to, put a bow on that in our area, let us not forget, you remember Danilo Cavalcante. So remember that he was somebody who rained terror on our region. Well, now there's a new ruling for this illegal immigrant and convicted killer locally here, Chester County, Pennsylvania, who consumed media coverage when he escaped prison. Remember this? Well, now the Pennsylvania Superior Court has said no. They have denied an appeal by Cavalcante. He's 35 years old. He, by the way, also still wanted for murder in his home country and his South America and Brazil. Came to this country illegally. Despite an order of protection against him, he was never reported to ICE by Democrats in Chester County, by the way. Had he been deported, a young mother, Deborah Brandow, would still be alive. He stabbed her to death in 2021, right in front of her young children, her sister now raising these children. But you remember, for 2 weeks, this escapee had stolen a gun, forced shutdowns of all the local schools, all the local roads, terrified residents, keeping their kids inside, worried that that armed and dangerous killer could strike. So we know what that feels like locally. And that he was spotted in Philadelphia. He's in Delco. He's in Chesco. Remember that he stole that rifle during a violent confrontation with a homeowner. And he later confessed, once he was caught, he did confess to police that he planned to use that firearm to carjack a passerby. So guess what? Thank you. Kudos to the high court judge who said, no. You forfeited your rights to appeal when this guy escaped from the Chesco prison just days after he was sentenced to life in prison. So the judge saying, nope, you're not even going to be given the chance to ever, to ever appeal this case. So that's, a local big story. Let's listen in to Trump if we can, as Trump is answering some questions, and I'll defer to you, Big Dan Borowski.
Yes, so first off, let's go to where he talks about the issue of immigration, Dawn, and he addresses the situation where he's been saying about the Haitian immigrants eating cats and all. But one thing about this is, listen to this great translator voice, Dawn, and I want to see if you can place who he sounds like that we're very familiar with. Take a listen.
Soy un republicano, registrado republicano, pero en este momento me encuentro indeciso.
Good evening, Mr. President. I am a Republican. I am a registered Republican, but at this time I am undecided.
Durante la campaña se han utilizado muchas teorías de conspiración.
During the campaign, there has been some conspiracy theories in use.
Le doy un ejemplo, si me permite.
If you allow me, I would like to give you an example of it.
Tell me it doesn't sound like Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation.
On a side note.
Sorry about that.
Las autoridades de Springfield, Ohio, han aclarado una y otra vez que los haitianos no se están comiendo los perros ni los gatos de sus gentes.
The authorities in Springfield, Ohio have more than one time clarified that the Haitians are not eating their cats and their dogs.
Sin embargo, usted les quiere revocar su permiso que tienen para residir legalmente en este país.
Nonetheless, you want to revoke the permit they have to legally reside in this country.
Mi pregunta, con todo respeto, es si usted verdaderamente cree que estas personas se comen las mascotas de la gente.
My question to you very respectfully is, do you really believe that these people are eating the people's pets?
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And this was just reported. I was just saying what was reported. That's been reported.
And it was.
Eating other things, too, that they're not supposed to be. But this is, all I do is report. I was there. I'm going to be there. And we're going to take a look, and I'll give you a full report when I do. But that's been in the newspapers and reported pretty broadly. I will say this as far as Springfield is concerned, because I do know that situation. You have a city of 52,000 people, and they've added almost 30,000 migrants into the city. If you were a person that lived there, if you lived in Springfield, Ohio, and all of a sudden you couldn't get into a hospital, you couldn't get your children into a school, you wouldn't be able to buy groceries, you could no longer pay the rent because the government's paying rent. Any of that, if any of that happened, it would be a disaster for you, and you wouldn't be happy. We want to make our people safe and secure, and we want to make them happy. But Springfield, Ohio is a perfect example. You have a town, a beautiful little town with no problems. All of a sudden, they have 30 or 32,000 people dropped into the town, most of whom don't speak the language, most of whom don't speak the language at all. And what they're doing is they're looking all over for interpreters. Well, I mean, I think you can't just destroy our country. It's maybe some people disagree with me, but you can't put in a very short period of time 32,000 people into a 50,000 people town and expect things to go well. It's a disaster. It's a total disaster.
So Trump, is it a risk? Do you feel it's a risk that he went onto Univision? Pew Research, by the way, just to give you some numbers, 36.2 million Hispanics in America are eligible to vote in this year's election. And they represent the second fastest growing major racial group in the United States. This is Pew's wording, Pew Research's wording. And particularly they are important in the battleground states of Arizona and Nevada, and maybe to a lesser degree, I'm not sure, here in Pennsylvania. And then there are some different, you can look at all the different polls, but I will say broadly, many of the polls, and this is a New York Times Siena College poll, a lot of the polls do say that Harris wins in the Hispanic vote. Trump is respectable, but that Harris wins that. And so he's reaching out and saying, I value you. This is not easy. And so he had some tough questions here. I think he answered that well, to say that that was the report. We all saw the reports. They were having city hall meetings there in Springfield, Ohio. There were people who claimed to be witnesses and city advocates and community leaders who said they saw this happening. He was reporting on it, and I think he handled that as well as he could have. The national headlines are saying, oh, he doubled down. Do you think he doubled down? I think that he was saying, I reported it. I'll be there soon. I'll report back to you. Okay, good. So the other thing I'll point out, there were exit polls that they're pointing to about what else? And thank you for doing this, Dan.
Yeah, no problem. So this next question comes from a woman who wants to know whether or not, actually it's self-description.
Okay.
Take a listen.
Buenas noches, señor presidente. Su esposa Melania dijo recientemente que apoyaba los derechos reproductivos de las mujeres y que pudieran practicarse un aborto.
Good evening, Mr. Trump, President. Recently, your wife, Melania, said that she supported women's rights of reproduction along with being able to get an abortion.
Mi pregunta es si usted está de acuerdo con ella.
My question is, do you agree with her?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I told Melania that she has to go with her heart and she has to do what she has to do. She has to support what she wants to support. And she wrote a great book. It's a #1 bestseller. I hope you all go out and buy it. It's really a great book. But I want her to do what she wants to do. I wouldn't want to impose what I think. What has happened is over the last 52 years, people have wanted to get Roe v. Wade out of the federal government. And they've been trying. Every lawyer, every legal scholar, Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, everybody wanted it out. It shouldn't be in the federal government. They wanted it out for many different reasons, all of them very good reasons. And I was able to do that. And with the courage of 6 great Supreme Court justices who are brilliant and courageous, because this issue has torn our country apart. For 52 years, it's torn our country apart. And if something wasn't done, it would have continued and maybe gotten worse. And I was able to do that. And I, like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions for life of the mother, rape, and incest.
We'll bring you more of this because I feel that this Univision interview is actually more important, because if he won over people, and I'll tell you about a back and forth, he actually said some nice compliments of the vice president and she was asked a similar question, struggled with the same question. So we'll compare and contrast that one. But we have a great caller earlier this morning on Kale and Company. We were discussing, in fact, that there are Republicans, conservatives. Maybe you took part in a campaign rally, or maybe you were in a campaign commercial, or maybe you have campaign signs in your front yard and you have received these letters, you have received threats. This is an incredible situation, and we want to talk about it. Do we go to him now, or should we take a break first?
We do have to take a quick break here.
So we're gonna talk to this gentleman, local business owner, who has been threatened. His employees have been threatened after they were in a Trump ad and in a Trump event. So we want to hear from him and give you this important information, because this is not okay. We want to let you know that. And also, you're not alone if you're getting these types of threats and intimidation. So we have some important information for you. And we'll get back to the Trump Univision piece, because this is crucial. If he did well with any of these voters, Hispanic voters, this could be huge. And Trump knows it. I'm Dawn Stensland, 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. This year, FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl Squares game you've always known, only way better. That's because your numbers are not just randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many as you like. You get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game. So visit FanDuel.com/Dom and bet on Squares. Remember, FanDuel.com/Dom, D-O-M. Because if you're new to FanDuel, you can bet $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
The 2024 presidential election is here. With the race neck and neck and with so much at stake, MSNBC has the in-depth coverage and analysis you need. Our reporters are on the ground, and we're breaking down the numbers until every last vote is counted, providing you with insight on what it all means for the future of our country. Watch coverage of the 2024 presidential election Tuesday, November 5th, and listen to MSNBC Live on the free Odyssey app or wherever you watch MSNBC.
Step into the spooktacular savings event at Hesser Chevy in Philadelphia. With deals this haunting, our prices are sure to lure you in. Glide through the night in a 2025 Trax LT, just $299 a month, or a 2024 Silverado 1500 LT, just $399 a month, both for 36 months. Experience exceptional customer service and deals that'll give you goosebumps. Dare to explore? Visit HesserChevy.com. Call 267-343-9094 for details.
Hesser Chevrolet!
Hey, Ambler. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Follow us anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
So you know me that, or if you listen, even once a week, you know by now, I always say that it's important that we can have a conversation. I want to welcome you in, because sometimes you'll say to me, Dawn, why do you take all these callers and you're so nice to them, even if they're calling you a nasty name or they're a Democrat or an independent? Why? I say because we have to have the conversation and respect one another. I truly believe in that, because that leads to a discussion about the issues. And if we're all paying attention and we're well educated on the issues, then we are, in fact, not supporting the swamp, right? That just plays us all the time. Because I always say, don't get played. And I think oftentimes we are getting played by these divisive, partisan issues where career politicians can easily raise money off of incendiary issues that they're never incentivized to ever solve, right? And so one of those would be abortion. So we received this email, and Jimmy Kelly actually forwarded it, and I think Jimmy had talks to some of our callers. This one, and I don't know if you want me to say your name, so I had written to one of our listeners, written to him, and he's calling in now. I don't even know, do you want me to introduce you? Are you okay to say your name? But you have, unfortunately, you've been living with these threats, not just for you, but also for one of your employees. Good morning, and thank you for calling.
Yep, thanks, Dawn. Yeah, the name's Lou Purdy. I run a local plumbing, heating, and air conditioning business over here in Aston, Pennsylvania. And I'm also a GOP committee man over here in Upper Chichester. And our slogan's don't get dirty, call Purdy. I've been in business for well over 35 years, and I'm a Navy veteran. And I was asked by the local GOP. They knew that I participated in a lot of the Trump rallies and went to a lot of the Trump things. I advertise a lot for Trump out here, go out knocking on doors. So the McCormick campaign reached out to me through the GOP at Delco, and they asked if I would be interested in doing a commercial. And I support Dave McCormick because he's a veteran. I believe in his policies, and I don't believe that we should have politicians who should be in office forever, especially as a senator. I feel maybe 2 terms, and they should be on out of there. So they came over to my shop, and they did a commercial here. They had my employees on. They had myself on. And we spent about 6 hours with them, and they did a short commercial. The commercial hasn't aired around here. It's aired out in Pittsburgh area, Altoona, Harrisburg, Scranton area, but hasn't aired out here. So all of a sudden, my Google account starts getting hacked, and I'm starting getting these reviews where we had really good reviews. Now, we're not a perfect plumbers. We've had some reviews in the past where, people weren't happy, and we try to rectify them as best as possible. But I can tell you in the last probably week, we've had over 5,000 hits on our Google review page, our Facebook page, and also on Yelp.
And how many?
My link.
How many? Excuse me, Lou. How many would you normally get?
We probably get maybe a couple hundred a month at the most, but in a week we got about 5,000 hit because of the commercial.
Okay.
And so they went on to they were able to hack my website. They hacked my website. I had to drop that down because of it being hacked. And then they went into my LinkedIn account and just started putting posts out there, and I had to delete my LinkedIn account, which was referred to my business. And then Google and Facebook, I've been, going back and reporting issues to them, but they're slow at best. They've taken my rating down. They threaten me. They call the office, and they'll call the office and leave voicemails, threatening voicemails. I even had people said that they would come to my shop. They would do bodily harm to me or my employees.
And you have
I
those
am a
recordings?
licensed carrier. What was that?
You have recordings of people making those threats?
I got recordings. I've got Facebook posts on my Messenger. I've kept them all in line, and I've been debating whether to go to the state police or not because some of these people are just over the top with their threats. And I just wanted to put it out there, for believing in Mr. McCormick and Donald Trump, President Trump, that this is what's happening to a business, and they've really taken my ratings and dropped them down where, we were 4.7. We're now down to a 3.8, and you go on to a Google ratings and you'll see how we dropped significantly on Facebook, Google, and Yelp.
And so how are your employees? Because I know that at least one of your employees is a woman who's afraid. So how are your employees doing?
Well, they're doing good. So, we keep aware of everything. I tell them to look over their shoulder, make sure that somebody's sitting in the truck, especially if we get up into the Philadelphia area or into Chester, Pennsylvania area, that to look over your shoulder, have somebody sitting in the truck, watching the truck on watch. So basically, instead of having 2 employees in the job doing the job, I have to have one sit in the truck. My secretary, we pretty much try to, keep her protected with a German Shepherd and, having our neighbors keep an eye on the shop and letting her know where the firearms are stationed in the building. The threats are just unbelievable. I mean, I don't agree with everything Mr. Trump says, President Trump says, but I'm an advocate of his just because I believe in what he is saying about our country, this illegal immigrants situation where I have 3 employees that are they're legal immigrants. I hired them because they reminded me of my father. My father came to this country in 1957 at 19 years old. And these guys came to me. I knew them from their father-in-law by playing ice hockey with their father-in-law, and I wound up hiring them. And they're legal. These people are threatening me that, you go against illegal immigrants or illegal immigrants and all that, and they don't even know half the story of it. And I don't even respond back to them anymore. But I basically got to keep on filling that Google reviews because, they're trying to really, if you go on there, you'll see they're really trying to knock the business down.
Well, first of all, I'm so sorry that this happened to you as well as your employees. That's horrible. It shouldn't happen. And I know, and as you know, Lou, I forwarded your email and your information to Linda Kearns, as she's an attorney. Yeah. She called in earlier. What is happening to you represents, these are felony crimes on many levels. Right. So this kind of, electioneering, this kind of, limiting your free speech, and obviously threats of violence, all of this in one package. Yep. These are felony crimes, and people need to, first of all, you and your company need to know that, you're not alone. And we're starting, I'm hearing this more and more, that this is a tactic. It's never okay. And Lou, I really appreciate you sharing this, because we all need to, just support the fact that, you have every right to put up any yard signs you want, whether privately or in front of your private business. That's your right. We have free speech rights, First Amendment rights. But for people to threaten violence, and this happened to another lady named Janet, somebody else called in. I mean, this is going on. It's terrible. And so I hope that, we can get this to the right authorities, to law enforcement, and I should hope that they will investigate this and bring forth justice.
Yeah, I was, really kicking around to go to the district attorney's office and filing a personal complaint against these people, or going to the state police and doing it. Listen, I've been in politics for over 30 some odd years as a local, and I've got thick skin. I know how to play the game where you need to have thick skin. Yeah. But for them to threaten my employees and that stuff, they just took it to the next level. And listen, back in 2016 and 2020, they did it to me then.
I'm so sorry.
The scale
you know what,
this
Louis,
time is just...
This is terrible. I hope we continue the conversation. I've got an interview with Lieutenant Chris McMullen, so I've got to fly, but we will continue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. Take care. I'm so sorry to hear this with Purdy. If it's dirty, get Purdy, with a P-E-R-T. So we'll talk more about it. I like that. If it's dirty, get Purdy. So we'll talk. We'll keep you updated, and I have some other thoughts on that. Linda Kearns is already on the case, but I'm really excited to talk to Lieutenant Chris McMullen, local Philly cop. Now has a big show. So we'll talk about all of it with him. Be right back.
Medicare open enrollment begins October 15th. Are you ready to explore your options? In Pennsylvania, you can get free, personalized assistance from PA Medi. PA Medi at your local area agency on aging is your trusted, unbiased source for Medicare information. They'll help you compare benefits and plans in your area and could even help save you money. Call PA Medi at 1-800-783-7067 today.
Supported by a grant from the Administration for Community Living, paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hey, did you hear? Wawa has classic hoagies for just $6.
Any classic hoagie?
Yeah, any classic hoagie.
What about the cheesesteak?
$6.
Meatball?
$6.
What about the Italian hoagie?
It's $6 for a classic. I shouldn't even have to ask, but what do you want for lunch?
Hoagies at Wawa, of course.
Right now, get any Wawa classic hoagie for $6. Gotta have a Wawa.
We don't care who you vote for in the upcoming election. You know why? Because this is not a political ad. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group meet with people every day wondering if they should be doing something different with their money because it's an election year. At Retire Ready Financial Group, we want you to know where your money is, how it's performing, and if the market does go down, how does it affect your retirement? We call it a portfolio snapshot, and we do it at no charge. Our goal is for you to have confidence as you enter retirement. Confidence to spend, and confidence that you won't run out of money. Let's vote those election worries right out of your retirement. For your complimentary portfolio snapshot, call 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or go to retirereadyfg.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC. NPN number 2083768.
Honey, I'm going to Wawa for dinner.
Okay, but Ben wants pizza.
Yep.
And Nick wants a burger and fries.
Right.
Oh, and the twins, they won't touch anything except for mac and cheese.
Exactly. Wawa has something for everyone for dinner, so I only have to make one stop to make everyone happy. So, what do you want?
Well, if you're going to Wawa, I have to have a hoagie.
From burgers to hoagies and everything in between, Wawa has dinner for everyone.
Support the Evesham Township Police Foundation. See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at Cherokee High School in Marlton, Saturday, October 26th.
Conklin doing his thing, his best voices, his best shtick. Joe's family is just, they're like back from the Osmonds. They're Osmonds on steroids. They're unbelievable.
They made fun of the Cowboys, though. I've known him for such a long time, but I did not know he could sing like that.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm at Cherokee High School in Marlton, New Jersey, October 26th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Keeping free speech alive. Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT. WPHT.
911, where is the emergency?
There's blood everywhere. Now panic is really setting in the city.
This was premeditated in the coldest way possible.
This killing was personal.
There was a woman found lying on a sidewalk in Center City. I was a father of 2 daughters. I wanted him caught more than anybody did.
They found the victim lying on the kitchen floor.
His whole jaw was shattered.
We knew we had a serial killer.
I said, is he weird? She said, he's a lot weird.
It was like he was possessed.
Stop it!
Philly Homicide. New series October 26th on Oxygen True Crime.
Ooh, I cannot wait for this. As a longtime news reporter here in Philadelphia, this is something that is on my calendar. Love, love, love. This is a brand new upcoming true crime series, and it is incredible. New 10-episode docuseries hosted by Philadelphia's own Lieutenant Chris McMullen, who, yes, is a real cop here in Philly, who now is a host of Oxygen. This is incredible. First of all, congratulations, Chris, for getting this series. I know that you're psyched about it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, obviously the number one situation when we think about Philadelphia, we think about the unsolved crimes that I know haunt every detective. Still to this day, there are detectives in Philadelphia in the region that I'll talk to, and they still are haunted by that one that got away that is still unsolved. And so to them, it's an ongoing case. Take us through what we can expect of, this new series, Philly Homicide.
Well, this show, it's going to profile cases from the city and also the suburbs of the city. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see Bucks County, Montgomery County, Delaware County. In true Philly spirit, it's authentic, it's raw. When these detectives are interviewed, nobody's telling them what to say. Everything you hear them say is what they wanted to say. It's based upon their experiences and what they felt at the time. It's very organic. And the same with, some of the episodes have friends and families of the victims, and it's allowing them an opportunity to have a platform to speak about, their loved one that was taken too soon, and how much they love that person and what kind of a person he or she was. And it's just going to show how hard these detectives worked to solve these cases. Justice doesn't always come easy. And you'll see that, a lot of these detectives started to take these cases real personally. One of the cases, retired Detective Chuck Boyle from Philadelphia, they were looking for a guy that was going around, randomly killing people. And, he said it at the time. He said, listen, I have 2 daughters. Nobody wanted this guy caught more than I did, and, he meant that, and it's a pretty compelling show. I think it's a pretty solid show. I think we've done a good job of, keeping true to the vision that we had, that we just, we wanted to honor the victims and show how hard the people in law enforcement work to bring justice and to bring the offenders off the street.
And with some of these, you get into talking about the updated technology, DNA technology, all of that, and how that might actually help, solve these crimes moving forward?
Yeah, I know. There's some of those off the top of my head. I can think, one of the cases, DNA played a huge role in identifying the offender. Absolutely.
And so, what's the are some of them? And I'm just trying to think. Has I know you work with Bensalem Township Police Department. What are some of the cases that we may remember, or can't you say?
No, I just. The very first episode is actually out of Chester. In Delaware County. Then actually from Bensalem, there's two cases from Bensalem. One, I think it was in 2020. It was where Dr. Jim Soa, he was a chiropractor, and he was found murdered in his home, which was also his office. That's one of our episodes. Another one from Bensalem, which was an older case from 2004, which I was very much involved in that case. A victim named Christian Rojas, who was found murdered in his apartment. There's another one from Bucks County, where a woman was killed in a church. There's one from Abington, one from East Norriton. I think there's three from Philadelphia. Yeah, there's three from the city. We kind of.
So I'm sorry, Chris.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we had a little bad connection there for just a second. I think for so many reasons, it's important for people to understand. First of all, a lot of people may remember a lot of these higher profile cases, but also that they're not forgotten, that these cases remain open. And especially when it's a murder case, there's no limitation to it, right? It could be decades later, whatever. So this is,
there's no statute of limitation on a murder case, no.
What do you love about doing this? True. Is it the camaraderie while interviewing other cops? Take me through what you love about it.
About Philly homicide, I just love that we're able to show how hard, I think we have great detectives and law enforcement in the Philadelphia area, and we're getting to show, the world how hard they work and how professional they are.
Yeah, and for this, I will tell you that I think that for right now, after the defund the police movement and all of that, with the pandemic, and we now need to hire cops, I hope that something like this attracts more law enforcement to see the gratification that you get out of the job, the feel-good part of it.
Yeah, I do too, and other people have said that to me, and I would love nothing more than for, some younger people that are still trying to, figure out a career path, if they were to watch our show and say, what, I want to go in that direction, because, one thing I always, whenever I had a case, whether it was a homicide case or any other type of case, at the end of the day, you wanted to bring resolution. I wanted to make a positive difference in that person's life or the life of their family. And, that's what it's about, doing good where something terrible has happened. Obviously, we can never bring a victim back, and we wish we could. We wish it never happened. But, the best we can do is bring justice and stop that offender from doing it again.
Yeah. What's it like for you to make this switch? As a long-time, homicide detective in law enforcement, and now to be a show host on Oxygen True Crime. What's that like for you, Chris, as you've made this career transition?
It's all kind of surreal. I really still having a hard time, sitting here doing an interview with you. It's like, I know the show's coming on, and I think it's less than 2 weeks now. I'm like, wow, this is really happening, It's fun. I'm lucky. I'm very grateful. I'm very lucky. Out of everybody in the world, I'm getting to host this show. So, it's an honor.
Well, it's an honor to have you here. I hope you come back, Lieutenant Chris McMullen. Really appreciate you coming on today.
Anytime.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So this debuts. It's October 20. I will watch that. This is right up my alley. And I have a son I should have mentioned it, but, he's going for criminology. I don't know if he'll...
Oh, really?
Michael, yeah.
Why? Like, what triggered that?
I think, well, if I'm honest...
Like a big CSI fan, or...?
And he would have gone into the military, but he was, during the pandemic, diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Gotcha.
First question he asked the doctor, can I still go into the military? Doctor puts his head down. Sorry, son. It's the one thing. The one thing you can't. I know.
Oh, poor guy.
So this is an alternative to fulfill that, know, and just like you heard Chris say, that he, to feel fulfilled, to feel like you're doing good.
So is he going to like forensic criminology where he's doing like DNA testing and...
He's interested in that. I think so. I think he doesn't know quite yet. He's taken all of those different classes. But this is, we'll definitely, it's 10 episodes, right? Starts October 26th.
Yep.
And it's Oxygen's brand new Philly Crime. Dun, dun, dun. So I can't wait to see it. Maybe over the years I've covered some of these. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love stuff like this.
So you're a big fan of these?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, murder docs?
Yeah.
Maisie is too.
And it's good when it's...
I like them, I shouldn't downplay that. I enjoy them as well.
But Maisie likes them better.
Maisie's like obsessed with them.
Supposedly women...
If a new one comes out on Netflix, we got to watch it within a couple days.
I'm like that too.
Yeah, so we'll be watching this guy, I'm sure.
I think if you look at the stats, women like these kinds of shows better. I don't know why. I do not know why.
They did a whole South Park episode about it, called it Murder Porn.
Murder Porn. I missed that one. I'm sure my kids watched it. So we'll get your thoughts on all of this. We'll return to the Trump issue and the vice president. I've got some more information about Elon Musk being in Delco and Folsom today, and you can sign up if you find the link there. So they're just trying to get people to make sure that they register to vote, because the deadline to register to vote, remember, it's coming up TikTok, Monday the 21st, and that's it. So this is a real race to make sure that, because we have all these people who are just not going to vote, who are going to stay home. I hope you're not one of them. If you are, I want to hear from you, and I'll make my case. I'll try to get you to, come to the other side. All right, we have to take a quick break, but I do have to talk to you. I can't wait for Italy. I'm so excited. I was looking up all of the pictures, and I actually bought, I'm just trying to think of, I did go out and buy a little wine from Tuscany, just to, you know what I mean? Because the wine tastings are so much fun, but it's the Italian Riviera. This is a gastronomical event only Conservative Tours can deliver. I really hope you join me for 11 days with the professionals from Conservative Tours. I tell you, they are the best tour operator in Italy, A+ rating with the BBB, Better Business Bureau. So what are we doing? We're going to, these are all different destinations than we took last spring. So even if you went with me last spring, thank you, love you. But this time it's all different. Portofino, Rapallo, Santa Margherita Ligure, Tuscany, and the brilliant Cinque Terre. $53.78. Yes, it includes your airfare. $53.78. Dining events at the wineries. We're talking Tuscany. Even an authentic farm visit to see Parmesan cheese being crafted by hand. Call toll-free 888-733-9494. You can always just go to conservativetours.com. Scroll down, you'll see my picture, conservativetours.com, and you'll see all the descriptions, all the pictures, hidden Italian villages you've never seen, like Giacomo Puccini, San Gimignano, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, Florence, Michelangelo's Florence, so beautiful, Milan. And then we will conclude on the Lakes region with Bellagio, Orta, and Isola Bella. Join me next spring in Italy. I'll see you in Cinque Terre. Conservativetours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
With the federal government allowing over 20 million non-residents into our country to participate in social programs that they aren't paying for, the taxes on your portfolio are set to skyrocket.
Barry Kaiser. I started with Crash Proof Retirement in 2005. With this year's election, I'm concerned there will be continued high spending, providing opportunities for people who aren't even American citizens. Taxes would continue to go up and families would have a much more difficult difficult time living, but I don't have to be concerned financially because I've been through 2 market crashes since I've been in crash-proof retirement, and I have not lost a penny. With the crash-proof retirement system, I've earned over 10%. Once it is credited, you never lose it. With crash-proof retirement, I'm election-proof.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Springfield Country Club, November 20th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Are you looking to remodel your home?
Emmons Remodeling offers complete remodeling services to turn your house into your dream home.
With quality craftsmanship and attention to every detail, Emmons designers and construction experts can handle all of your remodeling needs from kitchens to baths to basements and additions.
Call Emmons today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
The leaves are changing color, the air is crisp, and it's the perfect time to fall into savings on a luxurious new Volvo from Cherry Hill Volvo. Take advantage of these incredible offers. A 2025 XC40 for only $435 per month on a 36-month lease. A 2024 C40 for only $329 per month on a 36-month lease. Or get 3.99% financing on select new Volvos for 72 months. See store for details. Customers enjoy the stress-free and satisfactory experience Cherry Hill Volvo provides. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
California Psychics is the real deal. They helped me out, totally changed my attitude, totally got me psyched to start my business and to take a new path in my life.
At California Psychics, we only connect our customers with the best. We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us, so we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Hey girl, it's your new night guy, Jimmy Fallon in the house from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and free on the Odyssey app.
It is a felony. It's a crime to harass somebody, if they have lawn signs up, to take their lawn signs or harass their business. And certainly these are crimes on many levels to threaten people over their political stance. It's not right. It's a crime and it needs to be reported. And so there's a difference between harassment and somebody actually, going to the criminal felony level. Obviously, many different layers here, but we're hearing from more and more people, conservatives with a Trump sign up, afraid to put a Trump sign up or afraid to appear in a political ad, feeling persecuted. Maybe getting a little taste of what Trump has been feeling through. Remember when he was a media darling on NBC News with a hit show called The Apprentice? Remember when he was invited to everybody's party? Everybody loved him and sucked up to him until he ran for a political office, a big one at that, as a Republican. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210. Bill is in Montgomery County. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Dawn and Dan, how are you?
We're good.
Yeah. I wanted to make some comments about the Brett Baer interview.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I think Harris showed her contempt for disagreeing opinions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the opinion of someone who doesn't agree with her. And I think there were two sound bites that were especially telling when she basically said to Brett Baer, I'm speaking now. And it was the look on the face and just that anger. And then the other soundbite, which I think the Trump campaign can use, is when she said you're responsible for what happens in your administration.
Yes. Well, the second one, definitely, because there were so many clips that you could take that were so ironic. I even would expound on that and say when she said something to the effect of, Trump is talking about persecuting or something to that. I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically talking about persecuting your political enemies. And I laughed out loud. I was like, oh, you think? And think of the J6ers, citizens. When she said citizens, they're gonna have a law enforcement go after citizens. It's like at a peaceful rally, huh? Oh, does that sound familiar to anybody? So yeah, you could have a lot of fun with that.
I think it started with that surreal Joe Biden speech at Independence Hall with the red and the Marine Guards and all that.
Darth Biden.
He actually used the phrase. Yeah, he actually used the phrase "enemies, foreign and domestic." Implying that anybody who would disagree with them politically would. As a matter of fact, my own experiences, and this is 100% for 8 for 9. I call myself not a Trump supporter, but a Trump voter.
Mm-hmm.
I would never go to a rally, and I have some concerns about Donald Trump, but I'm still voting for him.
Mm-hmm.
I would ask someone, and I'm retired military, I would ask some of my friends, Facebook friends to the left, do you consider me to be a domestic enemy because I'm voting for Trump? And they will never say no. Of course not. They always couch it, won't answer the question. And getting back to that business owner you just had on, that's really scary stuff.
Yeah.
That because you're voting for someone, that equals you being a domestic enemy.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this thing goes, where this thing lands.
Yeah, I think it's a point well taken, and I think for you, the fact that you've grappled with the issue, and that's what we're all supposed to do. I'm not here to say somebody should vote for so and so. My only point is we should be well educated, and we should look into the issues and say which issues better align with what I hope for, what I believe in, and I think there's less of that. And so to me, that's the bothersome part, because if somebody's going to be such a sheep, a follower, as far as who they vote for, then will they be a follower as far as, to your point, saying, well, that person is an enemy, or, you know what I mean? They're a danger to democracy, so we better take them out. And that's what we see now with these threats. And my goodness,
exactly right.
And Bill, I mean, think about the assassination attempt on Trump. Not once, but twice. I mean, this guy's shot in the ear. It's crazy.
Well, you will never get those same 8 or 9 individuals when you ask about that,
Mm-hmm.
that if Trump is Hitler, shouldn't Trump be taken out? They will never say, no, that's not appropriate in America today. They always kind of couch that one, too.
Yeah.
Well, and you get one of those. So, but like I said, just that if you're voting for Trump, you're the enemy. Not it's a political disagreement, and it's like you need to be squashed because you are an enemy. Yeah. And again, Trump said some things I might disagree with, like the enemy within and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But Biden really did start that with that Independence Hall speech.
Yeah.
He set that table. He really did.
Yeah, and I thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate all your words of wisdom and certainly appreciate your service to our country in the military. I will say this, Trump has been asked over and over to clarify that enemy from within, because at one point, I think he was talking about the political persecution in the swamp. That's what I inferred from it. And so, yeah, I mean, if you are a famous person, particularly if you're a president or a past president or running for the presidency, every word, I mean, people take every word and put a big light on it and put a big magnifier on it. And so a lot of things are taken out of context. So it's just that, to Bill's point, when Trump says something, everybody says, oh, he's a danger to democracy. when somebody like President Joe Biden had that red lighting in Philadelphia. Remember, I did a whole segment on it. It was Darth Biden, and he had the United States Marines standing behind him as props. I didn't like that with the red lighting, and talked about those MAGA Republicans. Just the way he said MAGA was awful. And there were some of you at the time calling in saying, wow, that's, Joe Biden, I didn't vote for him, but I thought he was a pretty good guy. I guess he hates me. And it was kind of shocking at the time. So it's on both sides, but of course it's never reported that way. And I certainly hope that nobody actually is encouraging any violence against anybody. But thank you for the Darth Biden, the Darth Biden music. But, here's the thing. Did Trump do any of this? Did anybody get charged? Did anybody, kind of like Judge Engamoron or Letitia James did that happen? Jack Smith, were they prosecuted? No. Was there a J6 thing where they just continue right now to do facial recognition and arrest people and get grown men to cry and confess, and then they get, slapped with a misdemeanor, for not doing any violence on J6? That's really going too far, in my opinion. All right, 855-839-1210. We have a lot to get to, a lot more great interviews. Stay right there.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
This season, get premium tech that inspires joy from Dell Technologies. Bring projects to life with the XPS 16. It delivers supercharged processing for enhanced productivity and freedom to express yourself. Performance-class Dell PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors deliver a dedicated engine to help accelerate AI. Enjoy free shipping, Dell rewards, and expert support. When you get a Dell PC with AI, it gives back. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
Hi, this is Howard Eskin to talk about Jack Daniels, tailgating, and the birds. It doesn't get any better, so stop by your local PA Fine Wine and Good Spirit store and get game day ready with the original Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey, along with Jack Daniels Fire, Honey, and Apple, or grab a case of Jack and Coke or Jack and Coke Zero Sugar, now ready to drink in a can. Also available at select grocers. Jack Daniels, born for the tailgate, and please drink responsibly.
Whiskey Specialty, 7% ABV, Jack Daniels Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniels and Older Distillery, registered trademarks of Jack Daniels Properties Inc. Coca-Cola is a registered trademark of the Coca-Cola Company.
Natural disasters happen every year. Fires, hurricanes, tornadoes. And with that, your most important moments recorded on VHS, camcorder tapes, and 8mm could all be gone in an instant. Cherished moments like your wedding, baby's first steps, family trips to Yellowstone, lost. Enter Legacy Box. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box protects your irreplaceable memories from the threat of natural disaster by digitally preserving them onto thumb drive, DVD, or the cloud, so they're safe forever. Legacy Box is the safest and easiest way to preserve your past, which is why it's been trusted by over 1 million families. Send Legacy Box your home movies, photos, and film. Their team of trained professionals will do the rest right here in the U.S. For a limited time, Legacy Box is offering radio listeners an incredible 50% off. Go to legacybox.com/value and save 50% when you digitize your memories. That's legacybox.com/value.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Start out with giving you the news bright and early, 6 o'clock on the dot, and throughout the day between 6 and noon, talking about, we're updating you on Philadelphia crime in particular, but crime across our entire region and across the country. Updated the story of an escaped convicted killer, Cavalcante, and how he rained terror on our communities as he was armed, dangerous, and illegal, by the way, who was here. So we have in Philadelphia, we have a first responder, a medic, who is fighting for his life in critical condition as he was answering the call of duty, answering a 911 call, and was violently assaulted. And so this happens too often. It's devastating and has a devastating effect on all of us, of course, not just at the personal human issue of people falling and being victimized by these criminals. But then to add insult to injury, we're often told, especially by the Biden-Harris administration, oh, no, you have nothing. You're sensationalizing this because, oh, no, violent crime, it's going down. It's gone down. It's gone way down. And then very quietly, it seems, in the middle of the night, boop, all of a sudden, thanks to the great work of my next guest, we learned that those stats, big shocker, were in fact not quite right. And they had to be readjusted because, in fact, violent crimes did not drop in 2022. There's a big revision, and it's what we've been feeling all along. So with that, I'm really I'm really honored to bring in Dr. John Lott, who I know served as a senior advisor for research and statistics at the level of the Department of Justice, but as well at the Crime Prevention Research Center. Dr. John Lott, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So take me through it because you were the one who really revealed this. Kudos to you. You discovered this, and thanks to you, we all know that we weren't crazy in places like Philadelphia and beyond, that in fact it sure didn't feel like violent crimes were going down. Can you take us through, what you found here?
Right. Well, before I get into the FBI data, into the weeds, people need to know there's two different measures that we have of crime. There's the FBI data on crimes reported to police, and then there's, from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, there's something called the National Crime Victimization Data, which measures total crime. And I would think most people are more concerned about what happens to total crime than just the crimes reported to police.
Mm-hmm.
Will report crimes to the police depend on lots of things, like whether they think the criminals are going to be caught or convicted. And the media has just completely ignored the data from the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Bureau of Justice Statistics came out with new data last month where they showed that during the Biden administration, violent crime was up 55%, rapes were up 42%, robberies were up 63% during the 3 years of the Biden administration, and aggravated assaults were up 55%. Those are the largest percentage increases over a 3-year period by far that we've had since they started collecting the data 51 years ago. And, the largest previous increase was in 2006, where it was 27%. So this is slightly more than double the largest previous increase. The media, however, has wanted to focus solely on the FBI data, and I think the reason why they've only wanted to focus on that is because it's kind of offered a glimmer of hope in terms of reductions in crime. So, for example, over the last year, they've been using data from 2022, which was released in October last year, that showed a 2.1% drop in violent crime during 2022. But what happened when they put out the new data for 2023 last month, they went back and very quietly revised the earlier data for 2021 and 2022. They made no mention of this in their press release. They had one footnote in the report that vaguely just said, well, we've updated the data from 2022. And what happened is that rather than the 2.1% drop in reported violent crimes that they had previously put out, they're now saying that it increased by 4.5%. I think as comparing it to the National Crime Victimization data, I think it's still a big underestimate. We can talk about why that's the case.
Yes.
But it's still a dramatic change from a drop to an increase. And there's been no media stories, despite, look, for a year, using the 2022 data, we had media headline after media headline saying violent crime is falling, but people mistakenly or erroneously think that it's increasing.
Yes.
And you think you'd get, obviously David Muir, when he was, fact-checking President Trump during the presidential debate, was referring to the FBI data from 2022, and but the media doesn't seem to be interested in the fact that the FBI has changed it outside of a few places like the New York Post and Fox and the Washington Times and a few places like that.
And so what do you say, Dr. John Lott, to the back and forth as, I guess, officials within the Biden administration or the FBI said, well, all these adjustments, this is just standard practice, nothing to see here, basically. What do you say to that kind of a comment?
Oh, look, every decade or so, they'll make some adjustments. Usually they're fairly small. It's hard to think of times where they've been this large of a change. But the bottom line is this. If you're going to go back and change things, and if it changes fundamentally how the crime numbers have been reported, you would mention it. You would mention it in your press release, okay, that you put out, they put out last month. They would mention it explicitly in their report. They shouldn't require people to have to go back through and dig up old Excel files that the Department of Justice put out and have people compare the Excel files. It shouldn't just be one footnote in their report. Now, maybe they're embarrassed by the change. Maybe they want to hide it. God only knows. Can't get inside people's heads what's doing it. But they should, if they know the media has for a year been going and using the 2022 data that came out and claiming that crime is falling. And look, one can go and look at the percentages there, but you're talking about real numbers here.
Yeah.
They're talking about
and
an
real
increase
victims.
in 2022 of 80,000, slightly over 80,000 violent crimes, of 1,699 murders, of over 7,000 rapes, of 33,000 robberies, and 37,000 aggravated assaults. And for property crimes, we're talking about them essentially increasing their number by 198,000. So these are non-trivial, among those like 53,000 car thefts. But, so you're talking about real numbers, real impact on people, large numbers there. I don't know how, you're going to have to explain how you missed 1,699 murders.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just it. It's in many ways, at the human level, it's disrespectful to the victims, the victims' families. But my question also is, I would think that if you have this spike in, let's say, these violent crimes, that sometimes as a municipality, whether you're in a county, whether you're in a city like here in Philadelphia, you can use those numbers, all of the numbers, to then apply for maybe, I don't know, federal grants or different monetary grants to try to solve the problems, keep people safer. And so I don't think it's too much of a jump for me to say, by either making a huge idiotic mistake, so either through incompetency, or if it is indeed tweaking the numbers to look better, perhaps for a department or politically during a big year, upcoming presidential campaign. But either way I look at this, I think, could this put people in danger or peril when in fact, if they were open and transparent about these kinds of numbers, then we could assess budgets and maybe redo the budgets and maybe even bring in some more grant money or something to try to attack the problem.
Well, look, I mean, I don't know if they need to get more grant money, but look, this isn't rocket science about what affects crime rates. If you have higher arrest rates, higher conviction rates, longer prison sentences, you make it riskier for criminals to commit crime or even let victims be able to go and defend themselves, and that makes it riskier for criminals to commit crimes. You'll have fewer crimes. And so, you've had cuts in police budgets. You've had large numbers of retirements of police in major cities across the country. You have district attorneys like in Philadelphia who have been refusing to prosecute violent criminals, who have been reducing the charges even on the ones that they do prosecute. You have liberal judges across the country that have been releasing over the last few years large numbers of inmates from local jails and prisons. You have bail reform in many major places from California to Illinois to New York. And, all this also demoralizes police. If they arrest somebody and the person's immediately released, they have to think to themselves, what's the point of going and arresting these guys? They put themselves in danger when they go and arrest these guys. But we've had a huge drop in arrest rates, unprecedented drop. If you look at large cities over 1 million, including Philadelphia, in the 5 years before COVID, 44% of violent crimes resulted in arrest. It started falling in 2020, and by 2022, only 20% of reported violent crimes, so this isn't of all violent crimes, but just the ones that reported to police, resulted in arrest, and only 4.5% of reported property crimes resulted in arrest. And if you look at arrests as a percentage of total crimes, you're talking about 8% of violent crimes resulting in arrest, and only 1% of total property crimes resulting in arrest. And obviously, as we're just saying, in a place like Philadelphia, just because somebody's arrested doesn't mean that they're charged, let alone prosecuted or convicted. And so, you're talking about essentially it's become riskless in many parts of the country for criminals to go and commit crimes. And so you have more crime.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to me, John, to look at these numbers and see this. And I do think that here in Philadelphia, the glimmer of hope that I have is that the new mayor, Sherelle Parker, was she was the most conservative, if you will, and the most pro-police, or one of them that I saw out of maybe there was one other, but even over the Republican so-called candidate. And I will look for the mayor's reaction to something like this, because I think that in part residents of a place like Philadelphia, who are the block cat, and I am one of those residents. I've lived in Philadelphia many years. I think that residents will say, well, wait a minute, what could have been done? That we were being lied to, and then why? And is this a cover-up? And I don't even hear it, other than you talking about this, and I thank my colleague Mike Opelka for putting us together, John. But I don't really hear people really talking about this on a local or national level that much.
Well, look, for a year or so, we've had these headlines saying crime's falling. People mistakenly or erroneously think that it's increasing. And I think the evidence is pretty clear that people are correct. I mean, you look at surveys. In March, earlier this year, Gallup had a survey that showed that concerns about crime and violence was number 2 on voters' list of concerns. Obviously, that's related to the illegal immigrants that are coming into the country. You look at surveys from Gallup or from Rasmussen or others over the course of the last year that people perceive that violent crime is increasing. But you don't need to just look at people's perceptions about crime. That's the whole point. The National Crime Victimization Survey done by the Department of Justice surveys a truly massive 240,000 people each year. And, this 55% increase in violent crime that we've had during the first 3 years of the Biden administration is that percentage increase is without precedent. The largest previous increase over a 3-year period was in 2006. It was 27%. So as I mentioned before, this is more than twice as large of the largest previous percentage increase that we've had. And, it's just phenomenally large increase that we've had. In many parts of the country, people go to a CVS or Walgreens and everything's behind plexiglass. If you want to go and buy something, you have to have a clerk come over, open the plexiglass, and stand next to you while you go and read the different packages and try to decide what you're going to buy. People, it's uncomfortable having somebody stand next to you while you read the packages. Yeah. People know that the companies aren't doing that just because they think it's fun, that it's costly for them to do that. It's costly for them to have sales clerks have to wait on each individual person as they're going through the aisles there. But they know that wasn't the case a few years ago. And look, there are other problems that exist here. I'll give you one. You call it 911 in many parts of the country, and they'll ask you, is the criminal there right now? And if you say, no, the criminal's already left, they'll say, okay, well, you can come down to the police station and you can wait in line and we'll have a police report filled out. People know that wasn't the case a few years ago. A few years ago, you would have a police car sent out to you to take the report. And you make it more costly, more time-consuming for people to go and have a police report filled out. And some people are going to say it's just not worth it for them to go down to the police station and wait in line. And so there's reasons to believe that the number of crimes reported to police are not as accurate of a measure of total crimes as they were a few years ago.
John, last question, and I could talk to you and pick your brains all day, and thank you for being so generous with your time. And for my viewers on YouTube and for my listeners here at Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, crimeresearch.org. But you actually posted a new op-ed at Real Clear Politics at the beginning of this month talking about the new data on criminal non-citizens. And this has to do with ICE checks and the background checks, but also these crime stats that, quite frankly, for us here in Philadelphia, police officers are not allowed to report whether or not somebody is or is not a legal United States citizen, right? So I imagine these are incomplete numbers. But when I look at that, it's shocking.
Right.
When I look at your numbers.
The data that came out isn't even dealing with that. What it's saying is there's been about 7.4 million so-called non-detained illegals coming into the country, people that they quickly check and then let through. And we found out that there's been a huge number, like 1,400 of those were individuals that have been convicted of murder. Over 3,000 have been convicted of murder in their home countries. Another 1,400 have been charged with murder in their home countries. And then to come to the United States, you've had literally like 650,000 had been either convicted of a violent crime or charged with one in their home countries before they came. So you're talking about like 9% of these non-detained individuals. The Democrats have pushed back and said, well, these people are more than just ones that came in under the Biden administration. And they said some came in under Trump. The thing that people don't understand is that under Trump, when he had the detain in Mexico policy, you had the Customs and Immigration Service check these individuals' backgrounds, and they would contact their home countries before they'd be allowed to come in. Under the Biden administration, they've had ICE do the checks, and ICE hasn't had access to information from the home countries for these individuals. So they haven't really been able to check the criminal background for the people that they've been letting in. So not only do you have this massive, much larger number of people coming in under the Biden-Harris administration, but you haven't had the background checks done in the same way. And so they're much, much more likely to be making errors in terms of these individuals coming in. And so, it's a real serious problem. You should be able to, President Clinton just the other day was making a comment about the young woman in Georgia who was murdered by illegals who had come in and were non-detained, had been allowed to enter the country. And he said, well, they should have, if they had done a real background check on him, they would have known that the person was a criminal and not let the person into the country.
Yeah.
And but unfortunately, that wasn't done. And so that's 9%. But the thing is, people understand, like, that's really two groups of people, illegals mixed together. You have those who voluntarily turned themselves in, which is about 80% of that 7.4 million. And then you have another 20% who were caught. And those are probably much more likely to be criminals in their home country. But the thing is, those numbers don't include those so-called gotaways, people that we never caught, but we saw coming across the border, and many millions more that we never even saw come across the border.
Dr.
Which
John,
are probably the most dangerous.
Yes. It's Dr. John Lott, founder and president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. Thank you so much for joining me and really enlightening us on all of these numbers, and people can look for themselves. Thank you, Dr. John Lott. So we have to take a quick break. We do have
Thank
a great...
you, Mike Opelka. What a
yeah,
good
Mike
guest.
Opelka, you're the best. Thank you so much. Because it's when you start looking, I know we were giving you a lot of numbers, but it is astounding. This is, and if you want to look for yourself, and I always want to give you the raw, my resource. And so I gave you the site that he runs. But Dr. John Lott, and this was a new op-ed, so it was at Real Clear Politics, but you can also go to crimeresearch.org and find all of this data. And so you can look at the numbers yourself and just, I always say this, don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Be skeptical. That's a good thing, right? Ask the questions. That's what we're supposed to be able to do. But this is much worse than is being reported. It's concerning. We should all be on the same page with this, right? And it's a sin that, as I say, that it's now politicized, and it looks to me like a big cover-up. And does that not put us in danger or in harm's way at the very least? 855-839-1210, the number to call. We'll have much more, and we'll have some fun too, because I know it's been a very serious morning this morning since 6 o'clock. Man, 6 o'clock this morning, Killing Company, we're like, we were just going, we've been like, fight. I don't know. We're just very serious today. So we'll lighten it up too. And you'll hear from a local Delco mom who's a great lady, actually a good friend of some family members. We realize, of course, we're a big city, but we all kind of know each other, right, in this area. So you're going to love to hear from Kay. And she has decided to run for office, one of those people who feels like she can make a difference. So I know you'll want to meet her and you'll enjoy her as well. But first, we got to talk about my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles. You know, they feature the latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands: Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and so much more. And these models have such sleek, new designs, innovative features, powered by the latest in technology, thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles that are available across, of course, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. That's part of the power of Piazza. Because let's say you say, "Ooh, I really love that Maserati, but I wish that you had it in that, cocoa brown or whatever you like." And then they say, "Oh, well, we've got one of those in Delaware." There's power in Piazza, I tell you. Visit PiazzaPremiumAutos.com, Piazza, PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. This year, FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl Squares game you've always known, only way better. The office pools. We've all done the office pools. That's because your numbers aren't just randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many as you like, and you'll get to see the odds beforehand. Also, you can bet on them live during the game. What a deal. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg, and bet on FanDuel Squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you can bet $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if you win. $300 in bonus bets if you win just on one $5 bet. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 1210 WPHT, 21 and over, President, Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
An American Heritage Cash Reward MasterCard earns cash back with every purchase. From now through the holidays, get 4% cash back on essentials like grocery shopping, gas stations, pharmacies, and home improvement stores to help with your holiday gatherings. And when it's time for holiday gift shopping, earn 2% cash back on every purchase, including big box retailers, online shopping, and small businesses. Apply today at AmericanHeritageCU.org/credit cards. Subject to credit approval. Insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Hey, it's Rich Izzioli. You know that Dr. Mike Veneria is my friend. He's my dentist. He's the master of dental implants. Did you also know that he hosts an annual Veterans Breakfast every year to thank our men and women who have served our country? And he also hosts a free community shredding event so you can shred all those confidential, sensitive documents so nobody hacks your identity and tracks you down. Saturday, November 9th, Veterans Day weekend. Your opportunity to come out, say hello to our veterans, thank them, get some coffee, cake, donuts, even breakfast pizza. Breakfast pizza, what's that? It's a real thing. And if you've been thinking about getting that beautiful smile you deserve, reach out to my buddy Dr. Mike Veneria. For 12 years, he's been recognized among his peers as a master of dental implants. He's a guy who cares, he gives back to our veterans and our community, and he's my entire family's dentist. You won't be disappointed. So come out on Saturday, November 9th for the Veterans event and free community shredding event. Go to veneriadental.com for more information. veneriadental.com. I'll see you Saturday, November 9th at his Cinnaminson office, veneriadental.com.
Medicare is making important changes in 2025. Independence Blue Cross can help. Our Medicare Advantage plans include premiums as low as $0, dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage. The deadline to enroll is December 7th. Visit ibxmedicare.com/radio. Independence Blue Cross offers PPO, HMO, POS, and HMO Medicare Advantage plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Independence Blue Cross PPO, HMO, POS, and HMO Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal.
When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have someone else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement but don't have a plan customized to your goals, that's kind of like taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in your suitcase. Seems like a stressful way to start what should be a relaxing time. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to help reduce future taxes, along with a clearly defined income strategy. Call Jim at 610-894-7415 for your complimentary retirement game plan, or visit retirereadyfg.com. That's 610-894-7415.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
After a chilly start in the 30s and 40s, high temperatures remain below average today. Plenty of sunshine with a high of around 63. Tonight, another chilly night, mostly clear, low 42 for the city and colder out in the suburbs. And a milder day on Friday, plenty of sunshine with a high near 70.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
So I met my next guest at one of these great events. I've been all over the place. I'm trying to go to the Elon Musk event that's in Folsom this afternoon at 4 p.m. And I guess because it's Trump Force 47, he's offering $47 to people who I guess are new voters who are just signing up or signing these petitions. So they're just trying to inspire more people to get out the vote, make sure that you vote. And the deadline here in Pennsylvania, obviously, is Monday, this upcoming Monday, October 21st. So if you wait too late, then you won't be able to vote. Let's welcome in, do we have Kay? Kay Dugery. Like, think of do good, Kay Dugery, who's a mom business professional. Hey, Kay, longtime residents in Delco. They're running for state representative in the 166th district. And I know that you, first of all, hello, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I always jump right into it. Get to business.
Right.
You know, I know. I wanted to, first of all, get your reaction, if I can, just zooming out a little bit, to everything that's happening. Pennsylvania is, on the national scale here, Pennsylvania is obviously in the crosshairs. Everybody's talking about us because the path to the White House and some of these top-of-the-ticket races, right, lead to the White House in these big top-of-the-ticket races. For you though, obviously you are running to represent us here within Pennsylvania. So first of all, do you feel any coattails for the trends that are going on or lack thereof? And then second of all, why? Why would anybody, especially a conservative or Republican woman, what are you thinking? Why would you run?
Well, that's a great question, because when I go out and I knock on doors, I am asked very often, why am I running? Mm-hmm. And so I'll answer that part of the question first. So the reason that I'm running is because I felt compelled to act. This is not a position that I've ever sought. I've never been an attention seeker. I've never been somebody that really wants to be front and center. Driving around, seeing my name on signs was a little nerve-wracking to start, having my name out there, and being the center of attention is not something that is necessarily appealing to me. However, I was asked to run, and after some serious consideration, I felt that it was time for just some regular people to stand up and to try to do the right thing for Pennsylvanians. I wanted to be a role model for my children, and I wanted to try to leave the district that we are in, which is comprised of Haverford Township and half of Marple Township, and I wanted to continue to allow that district to be the wonderful place that it is to live, and then broadly to help all Pennsylvanians, because I believe that The bills that I would pass or vote yes on would be good for this district primarily, and then ultimately the rest of the state. And the bills that I would vote no on would be bad for this district, and then ultimately most likely the rest of the state. With regard to the national level, I have to tell you that I am so nosed down into just this district that I'm trying to pay very little attention to what's going on around me. And having run for the very first time for any political office, I had no idea the depth of this task. So I am spending every possible minute to talk to voters, reach voters, and just focus on this community.
So I want to go through, because you sent me some pamphlets and different campaign information, and just looking at the record of your opponent, who's a Democrat, Greg Vitale. And so you talked about, what he believes in versus what you believe in, and it's a stark difference. For example, there was House Bill 2171. So this one required sex offenders to be listed on the Megan's Law registry, made publicly available by law enforcement officials, and you are putting out there that this was one of those bills that your opponent voted no. How would you vote?
I would have voted yes. I believe as a parent, we have the right to protect our children against people who have committed heinous crimes. And I believe that part of the punishment for somebody who commits such a crime, part of that punishment is to be on a registry. At the point at which that sentence has been completed, that person would come off of the registry, and that's fine. But I think as a parent, we have the right to protect our children and the most vulnerable in our society.
And speaking of kids, there was one that I think, gets me, and there was a House bill in which your opponent, Greg Vitale, was the only person who voted against this. And it was House Bill 601, increases the punishment for the murder of a child under age 13. So 12, 11, down to a 5-year-old, a 1-year-old. And he was the only no vote?
That's what the record shows.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's very disconcerting. I would say that that's part of the reason I am running as well. Now, ultimately, many of these bills passed, but the reality is that's what the representative of this district has fostered, or that was the record of this person. And I'm hearing back that he's, a nice person. I would never disparage somebody. That's probably the case. But what I would say is, we have to look at somebody's record, and we have to say, is this person really representing our values? Is this person really creating an environment that is safe for us, that is allowing us to be as successful as possible? And, does that really make a great representative? Unfortunately, when I walk around doors, a lot of people have mentioned that, he's helped them in one way or another, whether it's with an unemployment benefit or notarizing something. And that's, part of this job is to provide constituent services. Every representative receives a budget from the state that requires them to, or allows them to, have an office. So that's part of the job description, right? That's like saying I'm a great mom because I give my kids dinner, kind of part of the job that I signed up for. The reality is the other part, and probably a very, very significant portion of this job, is the legislation that is passed. And that, in that case, I would argue that Greg Vitale has not been a fabulous representative for us, and I will pledge to do better.
And so what do you mean by that? As far as, as far as policy? Because obviously there is a piece of this where you were upset, and maybe some of your neighbors or community members were upset about the way he voted. And it would appear that even some of the ways he voted, he's an outlier even in his own party. That's what when I look at his voting record and talk to even Democrats in Delco. So what was it, or what is it that you feel is one of the biggest issues with your opponent that you just said, I've got to run for this seat?
I think it's a combination of many things. It's a combination of really providing for the people that need our care, whether it's the elderly, whether it's, for an example, Greg was one of 2 dissenting votes for a bill that said that it was providing for further offense for the neglect of a care-dependent person. So it's not just children, but it's elderly. It's people who are not capable of managing themselves. And it's keeping all of us safe. I think that safety is a very important aspect. And, to be in a community that's successful, you have to be safe. The other part that I really think is important is that a representative is supposed to represent the constituents. When I go door to door, the number one issue that has come to me that is important to voters today in my district is the economy, is jobs, is the cost of purchasing eggs, gas, a home. And one of the things that Greg has focused on throughout his career has been the environment. Very important. We drive an electric car. I'm a big recycler. I absolutely believe that we need to take care of the environment. However, when I go door to door, that is not even in the top 5 of what's important to people. So as a representative, I believe it's our duty to represent the needs, the wants, the concerns of the constituents. And so from that perspective, I believe that I would do a job of encompassing what this community is looking for and take those needs to Harrisburg and vote accordingly.
And so, one of the issues, it's a huge issue locally at the state level, obviously, since the Roe v. Wade decision, Kate. So is that something, as you're going door to door, and I think you had shared a couple stories with me that it is a concern or on both sides of the aisle where people just want to know where you stand because your opponent has been called a quote-unquote pro-choice champion. So are you in line with what the state of Pennsylvania is doing, or where do you stand on that issue?
So I'll go back to what I just mentioned in terms of my job is to represent the constituents. And yes, that is true. I would say it's probably the second or third, probably the second most important issue that people cite when I go door to door is abortion. And the current law in Pennsylvania is that abortion is provided up to 23 weeks and then beyond that, obviously, for issues or for outliers. And I would not vote to change that because that is the current law. I personally, have my own views, but it's not for me to put my personal views on my constituents. It's for me to represent my constituents, and that is something that is overwhelmingly a concern for people in the 166th. How
do we as women change the conversation on this issue? And you and I talked a little bit about it, okay? But I feel in so many ways that women are being pimped and played by career politicians, like your opponent, who play women and say, oh, no, I care about your reproductive health, whatever, which, by the way, no. Reproductive health hasn't really changed in 50 years. That should tell you something. So there's no incentive to really change anything or make it better. But I think part of this is people just don't want to talk about it. It's, it's something that I think people are uncomfortable to talk about. I think more women that get into office will be able to talk about it. But I think for Republicans, until we can really wrap our brains around it and just say, you're getting played, women, you're getting divided and played over and over, because this is what these longtime career politicians, this is their issue that they fundraise off of. And then Planned Parenthood, you can look it up yourself. Anybody can look it up yourself, as I always say, because the money is staggering. It's a money laundering operation. And so it's all about money and power. It's not really a compassionate issue for giving out birth control for free or as medication or any of that. But Kay, how do we solve this? How do we have the conversation and solve this issue so that girls and women can get higher quality care when it comes to female issues, but at the same time to depoliticize it so we're not getting played?
Well, I think part of that has to be done in an off major election cycle. So, when I look at the record in 1993, Democrats controlled in Pennsylvania all 3 branches. They had the governor's office, they had the Senate, and they had the House. And at that point, if the goal was there to codify abortion into our law, it could have been done, but it wasn't. The Republicans had the House, or all 3 branches, 2011, 2012, and 2013. And there's so much fear around the Republicans are going to outlaw it and make it. And if that was the case, it would have been done. So I do believe that many of our voters are being used and fear-mongered against with this issue. It's obviously an important issue because people talk about it very often. I think the conversation has to be one that is bipartisan and that we have to come up with some real honest dialogue, and that I don't see that happening in an election year because it is such a wedge issue and it is such a manipulation issue by politicians.
Yeah, and I just had a great conversation with a crime prevention data expert. And I don't know if you were able to hear it because I know you're at work and we appreciate you, fitting in the time here. But just talking about data of crime and the reality of the higher crime, talking about the fact that many so-called sanctuary counties or cities, like the ones in our area here, don't really tell us all the full picture of crime, of this issue, of an open border, how it impacts us. Where do you stand on these issues as far as transparency, crime fighting, lower taxes, fixing stuff, basically?
Well, I think that goes to security. I mean, people need to be secure in their communities. I did hear you talk about Cavalcante and Dr. Lott and how the statistics that the FBI has released regarding, I think it was 2021, and it wasn't a 2.1% decrease. It was actually a 4.5% increase. And that's concerning. So I think from one perspective, I went to the Delaware County Council meeting last night, and our DA, Jack Solsteimer, was talking about how crime is down in our community and how the prisons are, lower capacity. And so, I'd love to have real data that we can analyze accurately that shows, is crime down? Is crime not being prosecuted? Are people charged but not truly prosecuted? Are judges throwing cases out? I think we really need to see the full picture. Because when we look at some of the data, crime is down is what we've been told, but then don't believe your eyes. We live near a Kohl's, and constantly Kohl's is the police are coming because there's so much theft. Lululemon, there's so much theft in so many retail stores, and, you hear about crime, but then you're told crime is down, and now it comes out the crime, at least, violent crime per the FBI is actually up. So I think, number one, we do need some honest data from our agencies and data that we can believe in. And I think we need to, again, in a non-election year, because so many things are utilized to manipulate voters, and it's very hard, in my opinion, to find accurate data. And I think that is an issue that we really need to target.
Yeah. Well, Kay Dugarry, I hope you come back. Hope we can continue the conversation. But 166th Legislative District running against a longtime incumbent. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Oh, where do we find you? If people want to look you up, can you give me that information? Not me. I mean,
absolutely.
Give it out.
So it's www.friendsof166.com.
Okay, perfect. K with a K. Thank you so much. It was great meeting you the other night.
You.
So I hope we can hang out.
You too.
Yeah, I love
it.
Yeah, she's a great lady, and mom, somebody who worked in the private sector, obviously, and one of those individuals who, wants to talk about quality life. You can hear very smart, common sense, and somebody who's new, who's just not a career politician. So I like that as well. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210, getting the big gotta go. It's not as big, Dan Borowski doesn't give me the big rap like Brett Baer got with the Kamala Harris, the vice president.
4 aides are jumping around in the corner. Let's go. Come on.
I wish somebody had that video. Don't you kind of want to see it?
Right, that'll be amazing. I hope they make fun of it. They won't, but I wish SNL would parody it.
Oh, that would be funny. Do a backflip or a cartwheel. All right, we'll take a quick break. More news on the other side. Your calls. Be right back.
Buy low, sell high. It's a cardinal rule of investing. With the market near record highs, you need a proven system that protects what you have earned without sacrificing opportunity for growth.
Jim O'Neill, Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania. With the stock market at record highs, I would recommend taking your money and put it into a crash-proof retirement system. This year, I have earned over 14%, and it can't be taken away.
Gail Schlosser, and I started with Crash-Proof Retirement in 2016. I'm getting great returns, up to 12 to 15%, and it's not going to dwindle away in the stock market.
Regina Kukulski, Langhorne. This year, I earned 10.5% interest. I feel really good looking at that because it's not money I lost.
Dolores Queen, Hatboro, Pennsylvania. We have outperformed the market this year, and when we earn 14%, it's ours to keep.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Springfield Country Club, November 20th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED. And it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
The following is a paid commercial message.
It's happening here in Pennsylvania. Sanctuary cities are releasing violent illegal immigrants onto our streets with the help of Bob Casey. Casey voted repeatedly to fund these dangerous sanctuary cities. Casey's policy let more illegals, more criminals loose in our neighborhoods, making our families less safe. Worse, instead of deporting criminal illegals, Casey voted to give them amnesty. Casey's amnesty would give illegal immigrants your Social Security and Medicare. That's right, Casey would give your benefits to illegals, but he'd also make you pay more. Casey voted for higher taxes on seniors' Social Security benefits. Seniors can't afford higher taxes? Bob Casey, taxing you to pay illegals. It's just another Casey con job. It's time for a change. It's time to fire Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano at Batteries Plus Bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield. My friend Roy is looking for help. A handy do-it-yourselfer would be ideal. It's a great low-pressure environment with both full-time and part-time jobs available. Plus, if you're the entrepreneurial type, Roy is always interested in bringing in new services. But above all, customer service key. If you're willing to do what it takes to help, you need to talk to Roy. Be part of the team. They power it, they light it, they fix it. Call 856-638-0778. Batteries Plus Bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield.
Is thinning hair or a receding hairline making you self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien High Efficiency Tankless is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
From your kitchen table to our airwaves, the Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
You know, if I won the lottery, I would buy this. I would make a bid on this rare copy of the U.S. Constitution, printed 237 years ago, and then sent to the states to be ratified. Auctioned off this evening in North Carolina. And already there's a $1 million bid on the books. Nobody knows. This is a rare document that was discovered. It was supposed to go on auction earlier, but because of obviously the hurricane and the flooding and everything, they were able to preserve it. It's going up to the auction house. This is pretty cool. So we'll watch that one. It makes you realize the importance of our history and preserving that and, you know, valuing friends, old and new. I wondered what was going on with our friend Victor. We always say we're going to get together, talk about family, and he was always in East Falls. I'm in Chestnut Hill. And Victor, I'm so sorry to keep you holding, and we're running out of time, but I just want to say hello, my friend. Thanks for calling in.
Hi.
I hadn't heard from you.
And I just want to say, please, I desperately need to ask you to give me a call off the air.
Okay.
I have something very important, something that happened to me in reference to one of your first guests that you had on. So please Take my phone number. Please call me.
Okay. We'll have Jimmy get it.
Yeah,
are you okay? Are you okay?
Physically, I'm okay, but not emotionally.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, Vic.
That's horrible.
I will explain to you when you call me.
Okay. I'll call you right when I get off the air.
Hey, Victor, we'll get this off the
Yes,
air.
we'll get it,
We'll
yeah.
get your number. We'll put you right back on
Yeah,
hold
we
here.
don't want to put his
Hang
number
on,
out
brother.
publicly. But you can always call me. I was here. I thought it was some good news, so he sounded a little down. So I hope everything's okay.
That's not good.
But he had moved, so I was like, "Where's Victor?" We didn't know what was going on. But thanks for great interviews, fast-moving day, and so much that we didn't even get to from 6 o'clock this morning. There's still so much to talk about and so much developing. I did get a ticket to attend this Elon Musk Delco Folsom, Pennsylvania, because he has this super PAC. He's trying to get everybody excited about making sure that you register to vote. So hopefully I'll make it. Something always happens, and then I can't get to these things. But it's going to be an exciting day. Dom Giordano Show is next. And Dom, great interviews yesterday. What have you got today?
Today we got Bill O'Reilly breaking down what Brett Baer did. And O'Reilly, some people always were critical, interrupts too much. I think Brett Baer did it exactly right.
Yes.
Nope. And he didn't even, every time he interrupt, go back and waste more time. What they did is they tried to filibuster. They showed up late.
Yep.
They were jumping up and down to get out of there. What in the world was so important she couldn't give another 5 minutes? She can't handle it.
That's true. She didn't have another event.
No, there's nothing.
Where's she going to go?
That's a great point. You know what it is? You should bust O'Reilly's, chops a little bit, because Brett Baer has that whispery, sexy, husky. He kind of can ease in that. You know what I mean? Like that little.
Yeah. O'Reilly's not able to do that too easily. No.
Well, I really look forward to another great day at the Dom Show. That's it for me. Dom Show's next.
Good lamps.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out, because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.